Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to ICO 101, a Crypto 101 podcast. I'm your host, Aaron Paul. At ICO 101, we look at initial coin offerings and initial token offerings from the average consumer's perspective. We preview pre and post ICOs and talk to ICO leaders about their companies in order to help you make an informed decision on how you want to participate in ICOs. Visit our website at ICO101podcast.com. Find us on iTunes, SoundCloud, and CastBox, and please leave a positive rating. Subscribe to us. It helps us stay at the top charts, and it really means a lot. If you want to hit me up directly, then contact me on Twitter at ICO101podcast. I enjoy the private messages, so don't be shy. Before we begin, I just wanted to remind everybody that I am not a professional investment institution, bank, lawyer, or accountant. I'm not offering any legal, accounting, or financial advice, so please make sure you listen, take notes, research, and make your own informed decisions regarding ICOs and ITOs. Today's episode is a standalone interview episode with Ludovic, the CEO of Anything.app. I hope you enjoy, and without further ado, please enjoy the show. Ludovic of Anything.app, welcome to ICO 101.
Thank you, Aaron. Nice to meet you.
Hey, so I just wanted to kind of start at the very beginning, talk about you, talk about your company, talk about the problem you're trying to solve, talk about how people can make money. Does that sound good?
Sounds very good. So what do you got for me?
Who are you? How did you get into the space? And how long have you been in cryptocurrency? Why are you in cryptocurrency?
My name is Lodewijk. People call me Louis when I'm outside of the Netherlands because, Lodewijk is a bit rough. I am 28 years old. About 4 years ago, I was standing in this clothing store, and I'm just like every guy, well, most guys, I'm bad at dressing myself, but with me, it's pretty much become notorious because I'm actually quite horrible.
Oh boy.
And yeah, I know it's not pretty, but so I thought, okay, let's fix this. I'm gonna get people to help me. And ever since I started doing that, it was working really nicely. And this one time I was standing in this clothing store, in a clothing booth, and I couldn't find anyone. And I thought to myself, why can't I just video chat with someone who can tell me whether or not I should buy these pants, essentially. So that happened 4 years ago. It made me wonder, it's like, hey, people aren't really helping each other. And that was then the starting of this big idea, right? So I've been, to get back to your question a little, last 7 years, I've been traveling a lot because I like to explore my mind and introduce myself to new cultures and just generally keep developing myself. And then 4 years ago, I had this seed planted firmly in my head, and I started researching it ever since, which is kind of how I got to where I am today, which is co-founder of Anything.app.
So how did you get into the crypto space itself? I mean, Anything.app is fiat and digital currencies, but how did you get into the crypto space itself? What excites you about the crypto blockchain space?
Okay, so maybe that's a bit of a dirty or a guilty confession, but I really started getting into the blockchain space just because I noticed it would really enhance my product. So when I really thoroughly realized that if we used crypto, it would just make the product so much better, that's when I really started deep diving into it. So my first introduction to it was I don't know, like when it was still $3 in the Netherlands. We were quite forward thinking in it, so people started exploring the dark web and looking into this crypto, and I did as well, though I didn't purchase it at the time.
Yeah, gotcha.
But I'm into crypto now just because I noticed that if we'd use this, it would attract so many more people to using the Anything app, and they'd be cheaper for them too.
Do you have a tech background?
So in my case, I have a business/entrepreneurial degree background. So I have like 3 degrees in the stuff, which is enough to make you book smart at least.
Of course.
At that point, I thought, okay, so let's just kick off with this. But I found a co-founder. His name is Josh, and he is absolutely excellent. And he's been in software 25 years or something. He's done multiple startups. He's exited them as well. So together we make a good team in this.
What is Anything.app, and how does it work? What is the problem you guys are trying to solve?
Anything.app is an app. It's a platform that allows people to help each other over the phone. So, there's a lot of people who are in this situation, all of us actually, where you go onto Google, you have your YouTube, and basically all the search engines and help systems that we have today. But sometimes it's not good enough. Sometimes it's just so much more convenient if you could just conveniently connect to someone who knows his stuff. And that system is not yet in place. If I have an issue around the house, I can Google it forever, or I can just video chat with an expert to say, hey man, this is happening. And that system does not yet exist. And that's anything app. It's just a place where people can say, hey, I know this. My price is this much per minute. It can also be free. And they can set a time for themselves, like, hey, I'm available between these and these hours. You can call me, and that's when you'll show in the search engine. That way you essentially created a system for people where the society has an extra revenue stream. Everyone can make extra money. You've created a system where people start helping each other. So you have society lifting each other up. It's just generally very social. And it's also a much more efficient and quicker way of solving your problems than it is to do your own research online.
With anything app, some of it's going to be appointment based and other parts of it's going to be instant. If I need you to tell me that my pants are ugly, I need to know that right now before I spend $100 versus say, hey, I tried on these pants and let me set an appointment so that you can tell me if these pants are not good or not. When an expert or somebody you want to talk to enrolls as somebody to offer advice, how do they determine how available they're going to be? How does that work?
Thank you for bringing that up. That's actually one of the main differentiators of anything app is speed. Internet is super helpful, stuff like Quora. There's so many resources, but it's always, like you say, you ask a question, then you need to wait for a response. And that can be hours, sometimes days. I mean, days is a little drastic, but it takes a long time. And with anything app, if you have a society where you have multiple people on the app, you don't need more than 10 good lawyers for someone to be available at all times. But it's going to be way more than 10 lawyers. You're going to have different prices and so on and so forth. And the people who are online are the ones that will show in the search engine. Now, of course, you can also search for people offline. You just adjust the filter. If you really want to have the best one, he might not be available. And then you'd be able to book an appointment in the future. It's not in the MVP, but that system will be integrated a bit down the line. So it's definitely possible to book a slot with someone, but that's not the core business of anything app. The core business is just you need something and there's a list of people ready to help you.
Right. So the core business is instant access at the moment.
Yeah, because instant access to people.
Yeah, instant access to people, more knowledgeable you in a subject matter, or maybe equal to, or whatever they want to use it for. They just want immediate access. You say that people will be able to make money off this or off their perceived passion. Are you talking about the ability to even replace their income from their normal job with their expertise or passion? Is this possible? So, for example, I use Uber all the time. And Uber started out as, hey, I have a decent vehicle and I'm available from this time to this time. And all of a sudden it started making them pretty decent money. And before you know it, they went from a part-time Uber driver or a sporadic Uber driver to a full-time Uber driver. Can this platform offer that?
Not for everyone.
Okay.
When people start using this app, you're going to have a few superstars in every industry. So you're going to have the people with the highest ratings who receive the most calls. And it's very possible that they can actually at some point replace their job with anything app, because the earning potential is there. As long as you make enough phone calls, as long as you receive enough phone calls, it's definitely possible that you can live off of that as long as you report it in your taxes and that kind of thing. That brings us to an important note and something that we'll do in the future as well, because that's actually something that to some extent we're trying to avoid here. The reason for that is that if you're going to have only 3, 4, 5 superstars in every industry, then the rest of the people in that industry are missing out. While they might be providing a stellar service as well. And that's not the philosophy behind anything app. It's that everyone has the potential to make a little bit of extra or a lot of extra money. So we have developed systems to make sure that we kind of decentralize where people make their phone calls, so people start calling close to them rather than just those superstars. And that way everyone can enjoy the extra earnings that this company is going to bring to them.
Where do you find the balance? If I go to a place and I have a relationship with somebody who has excellent customer service, I don't want to deal with the new person. I want to deal with that person.
Fair enough.
They're my superstar.
So in that case, you can always stick with them. But then something that I'll do, for example, is that I'll subsidize the other person. So I make it extra attractive. I make it cheaper for you to call that other person. And you can always stick with your superstar, but it might just lure you into calling this other person. But let's just suggest that you haven't actually developed a relationship with that person yet, because then of course you're going to stay with him. But suppose you haven't, and that might very well be a good catalyst to start calling someone close to you.
How is knowledgeability vetted?
Ooh, okay, good question. A long answer to it, so I'll try to summarize it a little bit. We vet it through a couple of things, and the most important one is you let the market decide, and you're brutal in your punishment. We are developing these systems where we have a no cure, no pay system. So that means if someone's providing a less than perfect service, then what they can do is they can offer their advice for free. In other words, they do not take the payment. And this way they protect their rating. But if people take the money after they've delivered a less than perfect quality service, then of course their rating is going to shoot down dramatically. And anything app is going to be competitive to the extent where people need to be careful with their ratings. In other words, we vet people by letting the market know whether or not they deliver a quality service. You know, when this anything app is going to grow, then the market's going to demand that we, like you say, that we actually vet industry experts. So for example, you cannot take risks with people who say they're doctors, right? So we're going to create all these systems that people can verify themselves as doctors, and people can see they've been verified. But even then still, you know, you need to be extra super careful in those kind of categories. So we're going to build that into our system. So we have people in the back end within the companies like carefully checking every single important position inside anything app.
You said that part of the rating system is that if they do a bad job, they get socially penalized severely. And they have the option to, if they think they didn't even do a good job, not even charge you for it.
Yes, correct.
How do you prevent a system that is fear-based? Airbnb is awesome, and Uber's awesome. And it seems like if you are genuine in your approach to wanting to help people, you will be rewarded and get good reviews and ratings. Do you see it working similar to that?
The absolute necessity is to make sure that you create a pleasant, safe environment for everyone. And the way that you do that is through, and it's okay, it sounds a little cheesy, but it's through stellar customer service and very large, very intimate call centers, which that is the solution. So you need to take time for every single person who reports something. And you need to be serious about user feedback. And that way you can follow up on people who are being abusive or not. And when people are being abusive, then it's rough, but you have to kick them out. Because once you establish a positive culture, it will stick. But that can take 1.5 to 2 years. So until you grow there, it's very work intensive.
I'm happy you mentioned that, because in my mind, I guess part of the question that was hard for me to form was I was thinking that this is a completely decentralized platform, and it's not. And it's not a bad thing. So if a dispute arises, anything app will be the mediator between the dispute so that somebody could try to contest a bad score or a series of bad scores for whatever reason.
Yeah, so absolutely. I mean, as a company, you need to be careful of your costs. So of course, first thing you do is you just give them all the tools to let them resolve it themselves.
Of course.
But I mean, you have, if you go to your messages function, anything app is just a message in there. So you can just click in your messages category and you send a chat straight to us. So there's no annoying forms. It's not too difficult to contact us. It'll be super easy to just approach us, because we'll essentially be one of the people in your contact list, because we're educating a market here on new behavior about calling strangers. That is something that is it hasn't been done before. You know, everyone knows interacting with strangers. We do it all day. That's what society is built on. But now we're giving people this new tool where they essentially have access to the brain capacity of every expert, or at least an expert on every category, which is massive. You know, revolutionary. Yeah. To change consultancy forever. I mean, it disrupts more than you could possibly think of. But it's also something that we need to be doing in a protected environment. And so we have to mediate. If you decentralize this, it's not going to work. It's just, that's the way it is.
Well, when I first looked into Anything app, I really looked at it and said, how the heck can I even use this? And then I started thinking about it some more. And I was doing some renovations on my house, and I was doing some plumbing, and I was frustrated about something. And so I Googled it, I used YouTube, and I started calling people. I started video chatting, and I did the same thing with some electrical. And so at first I was kind of dismissive, and then I said, hey, well, what if I can't get hold of my friend? What if I what if I don't even want to pay $110 for a plumber to come out and fix something that'll take 5 minutes? I can call a plumber. I can call an electrician. I could take a video call and say, can you look at these wires, look at this voltmeter, and tell me if this is correct? I started seeing some tremendous value in this service. How can the person on the other end set their pricing so that it's reasonable and fair? And what determines that?
I think that's something that we kind of need to let the market decide. So the model that I've seen people use the most so far is where they just simply take their hourly rate and then they divide it by 60, and they will take that as per minute rate.
Okay.
Another way to approach it is to just go to your category, your industry, because we also have a category system, and then the search engine will pick out of those categories and make like a list out of all the people that you need. So you can kind of do a deep dive into what other people are using for their pricing strategy, and then market yourself in there.
Do you have any idea? I mean, you guys have done, I'm sure, a ton of market research. Do you guys have any idea what you think somebody might be able to make who's, I don't know what the rankings would be in there, let's just say a superstar or even some passive income?
Okay, so we did this market research with influencers.
Okay.
And it's super cool because you see people apply their own strategies immediately. So you see people who just try and get 1 or 2 calls a week and then charge a high price, or people who try to get 30 or 40 calls a week by charging a low price, right? And we had this gentleman, I won't mention his name, but a bit of a YouTube celebrity in the business development and how to get rich and that kind of stuff. And he said, I'd probably price myself at $50 a minute and then try and get 2-3 calls a week.
Wow.
And then I know it's absolutely insane. I looked at his profile and I was like, okay, well, maybe you can pull that off, but I don't think that's for everyone. I think a realistic price, I mean, for example, we'll take a lawyer. So it's very possible you'll be able to call lawyers for free because they're just trying to hook you on.
Right.
It's possible. But then I'd say on average, what would the lawyer cost? Maybe $2-3 a minute. You talk to them for 5 minutes, so $10-15, and then you've got your problem solved rather than booking them for a half an hour or an hour.
I feel like that you can't have a substantive question and answer in 60 seconds. Are you going to at some point limit the minimum time that one has interactions? If I call and I have a question, I'm not just going to say, Ludwig, pants, yes, no. Like it seems rushed for what you're trying to do, and it doesn't seem like you could have that kind of personal relationship, even though it's not necessarily a personal relationship app. There usually is some kind of small talk or some kind of bridging of ideas to get a result.
Got you. Okay, so what we do is the first 30 seconds are always free. So the first 30 seconds, you establish as the internet connection. Okay, how are things going? Hey, how are you? The yada yada yada. Okay, my question's coming up. It takes about 30 seconds. So we've set that as free, because if we charge people immediately and the connection is still opening up, there's too many complications. It's not a good system. So then after 30 seconds, you can start answering and asking questions. We can't put a minimum time like 2 minutes, because that would really take away the right of a buyer to just be quick. If a buyer wants to be efficient, we don't have any rights to push him into spending more money than he technically has to. So what we do as well, by the way, is before you start the call, we have this little slider that you can see. You can see it in our product demo as well. That says, okay, so I expect this call to take between 1 and 60 minutes, or more, and then it calculates your cost. But what it also does, when the person is answering the phone, let's say the seller or the provider of the information, he will see, hey, this person expects this to take 1 minute or 2 minutes or 3 minutes or 5 minutes or 10 minutes or whatever. So the seller can immediately adjust his expectations of what kind of call this is going to be like.
Mm-hmm.
And if he sees 1 minute, then he knows that he needs to be on point and just ready to answer immediately. If it's 5 minutes, then he knows that it's going to be more of a like smooth conversation kind of thing.
Is there a filter system for the person receiving the call? So if somebody has 1 hour available, can they set and say, I'm only available for 10 minutes at a time block, so that they can try to maximize the amount of calls that they get?
No, we haven't integrated that yet. It's something that we can consider for future points. But when you develop an MVP, you have to limit what you do.
Okay.
And also we need to take a look at user friendliness as well. If we put in too many options now, people will explode.
Yeah. What exactly do you think you guys are going to disrupt? What do you think you're going to disrupt? And in the back of your mind, you might not be telling people, but you think you're really going to disrupt something you're not saying maybe publicly yet. What do you think those are?
I like that question. Okay, let's say publicly, of course, we are disrupting things at most services that are consultancy based. Okay. So whether it is accounting or law or business development or coaching, these kind of things. These are things that you need to book well in advance. You book either a half an hour or an hour slot. You need to drive to the person in question. Mm-hmm. When anything app is launched and you're going to have sellers setting up these profiles, people don't even want to book half an hour or an hour slot with this expert, but they have to. They're being forced into it. With anything app, you can just call a few minutes and it's done. Mm-hmm. So this is going to absolutely pull apart the way that those consultancy service based are being delivered right now. Mm-hmm. I think rather than disrupting industries, we're also just going to be creating a new one, which is cool, because when we come out in the market, we'll have a monopoly position, which is something that not a lot of companies can boast. When this app launches, it will be one of the first apps that can really give you a transparent, trustworthy way of making extra money. You know, it's not, hey, watch commercials, hey, do this, hey, do that. It's no, help people by sharing information and getting paid for it. All you need is your phone. Mm-hmm. And no matter where you are, you can provide that service. I mean, Airbnb and Uber are glorious. They are amazing. But Airbnb requires you to have an apartment, and Uber requires you to drive a car. And right. It's quite intensive. So here you just need your phone. And then what we're going to be creating is the opportunity for people to access an information network that doesn't exist yet. Right, so take a look at the future. Right now, the search engines that we have now, like Google, Yahoo, everyone, they're going to be replaced by themselves. So they'll develop this technology themselves, but they're going to, of course, be creating AIs that you can just you can connect with, and they pull the information from the web and then they deliver that to you. But we're talking 15 years in the future, and then they still won't be able to get inside the minds of people, and that's what anything app is always going to be doing.
That's awesome. Let's talk about the tokens. You guys mentioned on your website, and at least I think I remember on your 2-pager, that you're tokenizing, but you're also going to be a fiat-based business. Mm-hmm. Why tokens at all? Why not just a fiat-based business? Because this can be a standalone fiat-based business. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so there's a couple of reasons for that. The biggest one is cost for the user, and it decreases complexity for us. As a user, sending ERC-223 around is a hell of a lot cheaper than uploading fiat and sending that around. In fact, microtransactions, there's still not a good system for that, and that's something that crypto is disrupting now. The Anything app is heavily reliant on microtransactions, of course. So that's why we need that crypto to cut in the cost for ourselves, and then that gets forwarded to the user. So that means that with our crypto system, we just charge a 5% commission, but if we use fiat, then we charge 15% commission. Mm-hmm. And I mean, it's going to equal out to about the same for us. You know what? When this app launches, I mean, most people probably won't even fully realize it's crypto. Crypto isn't a part of their daily lives. Well, Anything app has real potential to help people outside the scope of crypto. You know, this is something that can truly achieve mass adoption and that truly everyone could use. So then you need to make it in such a way that they actually can. And if you just do crypto, you're going to scare them off.
Why didn't you guys raise money in a traditional crowdfunding way then versus an ICO? And your hard cap is, I believe, $6.5 million, which isn't astronomical in today's ICO asks. But why didn't you guys do a traditional crowdfund versus an ICO?
Because when you develop a crypto, then an ICO is an option that's available to you. When you do an ICO, your crypto has value immediately. You know, people are waiting for it. You've marketed it. There's an expectancy for it. There is a demand, so it has a value. And if you don't make an ICO, then if you launch this crypto in the market, then people are always going to be like, "Hey, what's this? And how much is this worth? What's going on?"
True. But why didn't you guys develop the platform to just take any existing crypto payment? Why did you have to create your own?
Because we can give it out. You see, when you create a large supply of crypto like we're doing, well, actually, I mean, 400 million isn't a lot, but when you create a supply of crypto, then one of the benefits that you have is that you can use it to attract people to join your platform. So sure, if you give people some crypto, but you're careful with this, you're going to put more crypto in the market. But then at the same time, it will astronomically increase the amount of people that are using the app, and thus the circulation and flow of it and the burn rate and everything goes up tremendously as well. So, and if we'd use ETH or Bitcoin or another token, then we wouldn't have that supply and we wouldn't be able to attract people that way.
And will you guys eventually take other cryptocurrencies as a form of payment?
No, I doubt it. I mean, what we can do is we can make it easy for people to transform their crypto into our AnyCoin.
Okay. Yeah,
but on the platform itself, it will have to stay AnyCoin and fiat. Also, to be fair to the people who are participating now in the ICO, that's one. And two, because converting it into AnyCoin is super easy, and also converting it out of AnyCoin is also super easy, and it's pretty much cost free. I mean, okay, it's small cut, but it's not too much. But then at least the coin is being used in the system.
I got a couple miscellaneous questions for you, and
sure.
The first one is account verification. So when you verify your account, you have to use an institutional social media companies like Facebook or LinkedIn. What do you say to those in the space who have issue using these types of services to verify themselves?
Okay, this is going to sound really, 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 really rough, but I would say, I'm sorry. You know, there's less than 1% of the population has that, and they don't have to do it, but it's a way for the market to check their profile. So it's a way for the market to see like, hey, this is a legit person, he's done this and this and this and this.
Okay.
So if you're not willing to put anything of yourself on the platform, then people are going to raise an eyebrow and think like, who is this guy and why is he taking phone calls?
Yeah, well, I guess when I was thinking about that question, I was thinking about current events such as privacy and issues that people are worried about. I was also thinking about the mindset of a lot of people in the crypto space who are either in one decentralized camp or a centralized camp, right? There's not a lot of, I can relent a little bit. You know, they want to be either completely anonymous or know everything about me kind of thing. And then the other thing I thought about was, if social reputation is one of the factors in good quality, then why does initial account verification even matter? You know what I mean? Now, I understand that as an entry-level person, or not even an entry-level person, let's just say an expert, let's just say it's a doctor, right? Like, if you say you're a doctor, you should verify that you're a doctor.
Correct.
But if you say, I'm an expert artist, and I don't have a Facebook or a LinkedIn, how can they still utilize the platform without using one of these two services to verify an account?
Okay, so provided that they also don't have their own website, because that's something you can upload as well, there's still the option to put attachments. Okay. So what they could do is they could take pictures of their work and attach that to the app. There's a way for people, as an introduction, they can make a little introductionary video of themselves. So they can introduce themselves for a period of 30 seconds or a minute, like, hey, I'm this and this artist, take a look at my painting, isn't it pretty? And I like using these and these techniques, and I can tell you all about it. And then she can attach some pictures of their pictures as well. And then in their profile, make sure that they put the right words. And that way our search engine will optimize it a little. Like one of the reasons of using these social media, like if you attach your LinkedIn, for example, and you give us permission, our search engine will be able to extract data from your LinkedIn, so we know better what you're all about. And we can use that to optimize the search engine again. So that's part of the help. If you take those things away, aside from the fact that people can't see your profile, which might disencourage them a little bit, if you attach a video, it could still be okay. That's the thing too.
And you guys have two ways you're going to make money. as I understand it. The first one is through just usage commissions, and the second way is through advertisement. How do you see advertisement working?
Okay, so there's two big ways of doing it. On the one hand, we have our individuals, right? We have our consumers. What they'd like is they'd like to have more visibility inside the app itself. So they have the opportunity to buy things in which they're featured, and then they'll go up in the search engine. Now, an interesting point there is that we're going to use historical data, and we're going to try and price the advertisement lower than the expected ROI. So the ROI should be 2.5. So we're trying to make sure that the price of this thing is 40%, which is also meaning that pricing of it is variable for everyone. Okay. So if you have a lower minutely rate, then it should cost you less as well to go up.
Right.
Because otherwise, if you make a lot of money, then you can just always stay on top, and that's not fair to the other people.
Sure, that's
fair. One. And then the second one is that if you've seen the screenshots or the video of the apps, when you open the homepage, you have category buttons, and then also more push towards the top. You have like quick functions that are popular in your city or optimized to your own personal preference. Like, hey, they use this category a lot, so we're going to put that on top for the homepage for him. So when you have these categories and these subcategories, companies will be able to buy one of these categories and advertise there for a week, or create their own their own category. And we can give them a prominent slot.
Got it.
So, and that would be an amazing source of revenue for us.
Good. And what countries will you guys start out in?
Okay, so we're starting out in Southeast Asia. And when you make a platform like this, you don't have resources to market towards the whole world. So we're going to market for a good amount of reasons in Thailand.
Okay.
Thailand is our first market. We're looking at Indonesia strongly as a second. But also when this app is running, our analytics console, of course, is going to show us all the activity all around the world. So we'll be able to spot opportunities where they are.
Okay. So when you say you're going to start out in Thailand, if I want to utilize your app, I'm in the United States, I want to be a specialist on your platform. Can I sign up to be a specialist?
Absolutely.
Service somebody in Thailand?
Or you can even service someone in America. It doesn't matter. I mean, the app is available. It's open to the whole world. And that's one of the beauties of crypto. You can send it around the world so easily. Oh. In fact, but when we market it, when our advertisement budget, these kind of things, you have to put that towards one geographical location at a time.
It. Okay.
So that's where we have Thailand. But generally, it's open to the world.
Awesome. Can specialists sign up before you launch the platform? Can somebody queue up? Can somebody join your community and say, I want to start, I want to be there as soon as you guys launch?
As awesome as that would be, no, that would not be possible. So, I mean, it's a cool idea, but that would require us to create, an index and a console for that and an entire system, which is possible. But at this time, we're laser focused on getting this app out the right way. So what we can do, we can take write-ins through email, but not in such a way that it'll automatically open in the app. Because, this app is coming out soon. There's just no time to create that anymore.
So I have a general leadership question for you.
Sure thing.
And I always ask the leaders that come onto the show, or I try to as often as possible, why won't you fail? And what gives you the experience in the last few years of work after college? What can you say to people who say, yeah, you have the theoretical, but they should buy into you as a leader? Because ultimately, if you're not effective and you're not doing a good job, this company doesn't do very well. How do you not fail? Okay, so me personally and not the company itself, correct? Well, you're leading the company. Okay. That's a fact. I mean, yeah. This is your brainchild. You started it 4 years ago. They're technically investing in the company, but you're the head of that company. Gotcha. Okay, so the reason why I won't fail, so that requires me to brag, which is awful. But okay, let's name some things then. So I've been a hotelier. When I was in university, I got recruited for what was arguably noted to be the best position of the year. So I got that, and then within that position, within 2 years, started out as a management trainee, and by the end of the second year, I was doing pre-openings and managing a team of 40 people. That is something that in that industry doesn't happen. That should have taken me 6, 7, or 8 years longer.
But it didn't. It took me less than 2 years. And actually, inside that hotel, inside that specific vertical that I was in, I had been in that for less than a year, and I wasn't managing just one segment. I was managing 5. So that is something that I can do. Is like I'm easily okay with high workloads of 60 hours a week is my concentrated sweet spot, I'd say. Where I can really focus 60 hours a week and be efficient. But most of the times I pull 80 or 90 without it being too much of an issue. I'd say, why else won't I fail? Because I love people, I think, and they need this. Does that sound weird?
No.
I mean,
not at all.
If you think about what the Anything app can do for society, then you kind of lose the option to fail. And the enthusiasm doesn't waver, and I feel that draws people to the company. It has in the past, and it will continue to do so, because there is so much potential for good here that people respond very positive to it. And that is a pleasure to be the catalyst for that. It's also, I don't know, it's so difficult to express it. I don't know, passion maybe. So, I mean, of course, I have the degrees, right? I have my master's in entrepreneurship and all that stuff, and I'm great with people, and I was like my administration, not a problem, and I'm good at networking, and I can do my politics. But I guess what it boils down to is just energy and passion, and being able to make sure that the team is always relentlessly efficient and optimistic.
Good.
And when you make that, it's actually, I mean, we've been building this company for a year now, and I feel personally that we're doing quite well. And all the stuff that we said in the white paper, I think we're gonna smash it. It's not a matter of, I don't know, failing or succeeding. I think failing is, I don't understand why all these people fail. I guess just because they quit. I mean, I guess that's it.
Failure's not a bad thing. You could fail because you make some mistakes and you just can't recover them, or you can't recover from them.
Sure.
That's not horrible if your intent wasn't malicious. You can learn from it and you can grow, and there is an expected failure rate amongst any small business, obviously a high expectation of failure rate. But that rate can easily be defied. And I appreciate you answering that question. Where can people learn more about you and the project?
Okay, so if you want to know more about me and the project, then I just direct you to our website. It's cool. We're one of the first ones who have the .app domain. So our website is just anything.app. No .com, no nothing, anything.app. So you can go there, and we have some videos there. If you want to know more about me, it's like we have some interviews with me. But generally, I just recommend that you also look into the rest of the team. I mean, we have a team of 7 people now, and 5 of them are founders or previous founders. So all of us, we do startups. We are a startup with experience in startups.
Awesome.
So, I mean, I also know that I'm relatively young, so I've surrounded myself with people who are very experienced in their own niches and expertise, right? I mean, I wouldn't necessarily say my being young is a shortcoming, because it comes with tremendous energy and passion.
Right.
But still, you need to analyze yourself and move forward and build around yourself, and not around yourself, just build a solid team, and if possible, make yourself almost dismissible. But you need to get a solid thing going. Long story short, start at anything.app, check out our Telegram, check out our Twitter. That's a good way to stay up to date. Sign into our emails. And if you do that, then you get a solid amount of information coming your way.
Lodewijk, thank you very much for being on the show. Yo, everyone. Thanks again for listening. Check out the links on the show notes, and don't forget to subscribe to us on iTunes, SoundCloud, and CastBox. Leave a positive review. If you want to get a hold of me, then hit me up, Twitter at ICO101 Podcast. If you want to learn more about the crypto space in general, if you want to get back to the basics of blockchain, then check out our award-winning parent podcast, Crypto101 with Matthew Aaron. It's a great podcast. Until next time, peace.